Welcome to another episode of Go Team Score Points, a podcast for those who want to distract themselves from the news for 30 to 45 minutes and learn about the NBA instead. Each episode focuses on one NBA game from that week. An NBA beginner Irish, that's me, and longtime NBA fan Sam.
That's me.
Learn about the NBA games, people, and current events. In today's show, we check in with Alice.
That's me.
About the upcoming WNBA season, then talk about the Knicks Pistons playoff game from April 19th. It's our best episode yet. Hey, Alice.
Hi, good to see both of you again.
We're so happy you're back. So what's going on with the WNBA this week?
Not much. They have kind of like a week off, and then they're going to start training camp.
So we're coming back from
the draft. Yeah, it's just like the draft happened. Now people are resting. And some teams have signed players outside of the draft. And, so like if you don't get drafted in the top 36 or something, but you're still a good player, they'll invite that player to training camp. And so then you have a bunch of players in training camp, you cut them to 12.
I was thinking about this week. Do you know how many games are in the WNBA season?
Oh my gosh, I don't, because it increases every year. And so, And so I think the more popular it becomes, the more games there are. And like last year was not a good measure of it because we had the Olympics like 3 or some weeks in. So really there will be more games played this year than last year.
So the draft is done.
The draft is done. The teams are about to get ready for training camp. Nothing's exciting. College women's news is more exciting at this point because in college nowadays, we have something called the transfer portal. So in the past, if you're a college student, athlete, then you wanted to change to another school, you'd have to wait out a year. If you're a freshman, you played freshman year, you transfer to another school, you could start playing when you're a junior. Now with the transfer portal, you just like put yourself in the portal and then other coaches and teams can contact you and you can go to that school and play right away. So it's like the era of the transfer portal. It's also the era of NIL, which means college athletes are now getting paid. And so because they, schools are using like their likeness. They're like, well, why am I not reaping the benefits of this? Which makes complete sense. The drama is happening there. For example, one UCLA women's player entered the portal and then recently USC picked her up, and these are crosstown rivals. And so University of Southern California, UCLA are rivals, and she just went right to the rival school. And
wait, I have a question.
Yes.
So when you put your name in the portal, can you say like, I want to go to these 5 schools, or just put yourself out there? And if somebody says, hey, come to Northern Montana State, you can be like, no, thank you.
I think a lot of these players have agents. And so the agents probably know what the player wants, and maybe will reach out to those schools, those coaches. The coaches are also looking at the portal too, and they'll reach out. If somebody like really enticing comes through, they'll be like, oh, we want to have a conversation. There's also a do not contact tag. So the player can enter the portal, put that tag on, and then they already know which programs they're considering. So it's like they're going to contact those programs. Nobody else contact me. So there's that tag too. There are some big shakeups. Like USC lost 6 or some players. UCLA lost a lot of the freshmen. So there are a lot of freshmen that are like coming in and playing and then realizing, oh, I'm either not getting enough playing time or this is not the right fit for me, and then they're just transferring out.
There was something this week about direct pay from universities to athletes. That was a little bit new to me. I knew like the NIL thing, but I didn't know any of them were getting like contracts to play for UConn or whatever.
Yeah, I think people are definitely getting paid. So there are some schools like TCU who like apparently has a lot of money and can really recruit and get those really sought after transfers. And so there's one candidate that was going to be in the draft. She hadn't decided. She would have been number 2 in the draft. She decided to stay at her 5th year and go into the transfer portal instead. And they were able to pick her up, which is
TCU was?
TCU, yes.
Wow.
So TCU is pretty good at transfer portaling. And so now that's a thing, right? In the past few years, that's become a thing. And so there are definitely different opinions about it. There are some people that say you should just stay where you're at, and like struggle and, that you'll learn some things. And there are other people that say, well, if this system doesn't fit you, like each coach has a different style, then, right, now that you've observed all these other coaches and all these other playing styles, maybe you want to be in a school that is more catered towards how you want to play. And so they're, differing of opinions.
Yeah. We've talked, it reminds me of the Jimmy Butler.
Player empowerment. I've been talking about player empowerment.
All for it. And I'm pro-labor.
We're taking a stand.
Exactly.
Okay. I know you're short on time. Do you want to talk more, or do you want to play the game then?
Let's play this game.
We kind of played this game before. We called it Best Man for the Job, even though it wasn't specifically about men, where we came up with different scenarios and you had to pick which NBA related person would be best for this situation. So we're bringing that back, and we had ChatGPT write us some scenarios, and I looked up all the mascots in the NBA and the WNBA, and I'm going to choose the best mascot for each situation. And Sam is going to choose the best NBA player And Alice is going to choose the best WNBA player for the situation.
I like it.
Okay. Number 1, you've been wrongfully arrested. Which player is your lawyer and why? Okay. I chose the mascot, Sir Cece of the Cleveland Cavaliers, because I think he might be a lawyer. Like, I think he has his degree. He's passed the bar at least in Ohio.
Yeah. For sure. I totally agree. Probably also has like some ins in the judicial department and like could definitely make a call to
For
an
sure.
old frat buddy
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
who could get you off the hook.
Yeah.
I picked Luca because he's a good talker. He just talks and talks and talks. He'll talk to anybody. He'll talk to fans. He'll talk to coaches. He'll talk to players. So why not talk to a judge? I pictured him being like combination arrogant and whiny and just like almost like a filibuster in court. And where finally they're just like, fine, pay $100 fine, go away. Yeah.
Hey,
100%.
Alice.
So I have Nneka Ogwumike. She's the president of the Women's National Basketball Players Association. So they call her Madam President. And this association is who's responsible for negotiating the new collective bargaining agreement so that players get paid more. She sounds like the right person, professional, and, you know, knows how to go about things. Yeah, she plays for the Seattle Storm.
Oh, she's a player and has that big
Yes,
job?
yes, it's a players association. So there are players that have like, this is the treasurer, this is the et cetera. Yeah, the secretary. Yeah.
The next one is your restaurant is failing. Which player is your new head chef? And I picked Ime Udoka, who's the coach of the Houston Rockets. I read something about him this year that he's just like grumpy all the time. Aren't chefs like notoriously like they make people say yes chef in the kitchen, wearing the hat and being
I've
grumpy
seen
with
the bear.
yeah,
Yeah.
being grumpy with sous chefs.
I have one too. So there's a player. Her name's Marina Mabry. She films these TikToks, which is your favorite. I know you love TikToks.
Yeah.
And she films herself cooking things and then feeding her teammates or her friends who are also WNBA players. So they did mac and cheese once or like random things. And then her teammates will look at it and be like, could we eat that? Or no? And then they'll eat it and be like, yeah, this is better than it looks.
Yeah.
And so she kind of is, over this off season, has been doing a lot of TikToking, and cooking has been one of her threads, her main topics.
I don't have one for a mascot, but I did think of DeAndre Jordan, who I think had a cooking show for a while. He's the vegan.
I know.
Oh.
I'm sorry, I just wouldn't be interested in the food. Okay, go.
Okay. You're launching a fashion brand. Who's your creative director? Okay. I picked New York Liberty Ellie because even in her bio, like her description, they say she has stylish outfits.
Oh, I picked Aaron Gordon
Oh, for sure.
because of Saks.
Yeah. Fact, the underwear.
He's got an underwear brand.
Oh, okay.
Must have ins in the industry.
Yeah.
He's got abs.
So I'm not sure if the NBA has tunnel fits.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you can kind of see like the style of the players coming through. So the WNBA has that too. They walk through the tunnel, they take pictures. And there was a rookie last year that had a little bit of trouble starting to play because her visa was not approved. And they were trying really hard to get her visa approved. And so she came through the tunnel once with a t-shirt that her dad designed. And it said, it's a picture of her, like a passport. And it said, my visa got approved. And then like she was able to play that night. Yeah. And she, like, people vote for her for being like the most fashionable. But I think that was the one I remember the most. And I was like, oh, that's clever. Nika Mule, also on the Seattle Storm.
Someone cuts in line in front of you at Chipotle. Which player is confronting the guy for you? I'm going to say Indiana Fever's Freddie Fever because no one wants to get involved with that guy. He is chaotic.
I picked Isaiah Stewart, who's this guy who plays for the Pistons, whose nickname is Beef Stew. So aggro and will fight anyone for any reason.
Like more than Draymond Green.
Along those lines. Yeah.
I have Alyssa Thomas. This year she's on the Phoenix Mercury. She plays like a center forward. She'll play a center position, but she's not very tall, but she's built. And so there are players that will run into her and fall on the floor. Yeah. And she actually will just like laugh at them and talk trash. So I could see her being a good bodyguard.
Okay, you have to go to Costco again. Who do you take with you? Okay, I'm going to take the Suns mascot. It's called Gorilla. It literally looks like a Halloween costume from like the 80s. Like it's very basic. It doesn't look like a mascot gorilla.
It's not like cartoony. It's
Right.
like a guy put on a gorilla suit.
Like it has nothing to do with like I don't understand any of this. So I read about it. In 1980, there was somebody who was hired as like a singing telegram to deliver a message to someone at a Suns game, and he was dressed in a gorilla suit.
And it's stuck?
And then like everybody like went crazy and he became a fan favorite. And so they just went with it.
I picked Drew Holiday. He seems very nice, very patient. We've talked. He had a little bit of a sad story, good perspective. and also like a very like business-like player. He'll do whatever needs to be done. So he wouldn't mind going back to get the tortillas if you forgot them in line or something like that.
So this is the only player I doubled up on because Marina Mabry on the Connecticut Sun films 2 types of TikToks, or 3 types. 1, she dances. 2, she films those cooking videos. And 3, she films her Costco trips. What? So she records, come with me to Costco. And then at least there are tens of videos of her going to Costco every time. And then she's like, I want this, I want this, I want this.
She knows her way around.
She does it, yeah. She was in the Chicago Sky last year. And then when she moved to Connecticut, then she started all her Costco trips.
Okay, most likely to cry at a Disney movie. I said Lucky because he's wasted. It's just like, oh, I can't stand it.
Yeah. I always cry so hard at the beginning of Up. I picked Brooke Lopez because Disney adult, he like just hits him right, right in the heart.
Is he really a Disney adult?
Yes.
Okay.
You think it's creepy. I think it's great.
Well, I think it's great.
For all of the things that like a zillionaire alpha male could be into.
Right.
It's like, I think would do some of the least harm of any of that. Anyway.
I put Paige Beckers here. She does a lot of interviews and sometimes I think she just gets emotional. Yeah, it's just getting emotional. I was like, okay, yeah.
Okay, best substitute teacher who gives no homework. I'm going to go with Bernie. He is the chaotic mascot of the Miami Heat. He is a 7'6" tall anthropomorphic flame with a green basketball for a nose, and he does not give a fuck about homework. He doesn't care if you're in class. He just wants his $35.
I put the whole 76ers team because what?
Like, what else are they doing?
Yeah, they'll show up. I don't know what kind of the way they approach basketball.
I picked Kalia Copper, who's also from the Phoenix Mercury. I saw a video of her trying to do a math problem on a board, just adding fractions or something, and she struggles so hard.
You could help her so much.
I was like, maybe I'll have her because then it'll be really relaxed in class. She's not going to be trying to teach us any math, at least.
Okay, best Uber driver who talks too much. This mascot is called Mavs Man. He's kind of like a superhero, and his origin story is explained through a comic strip on their website. Long story short, he was a guy with low self-esteem. Then he found basketball and he turned in magically to Mavs Man. And now he tries to help people be their best selves. So I think if you're stuck in an Uber with somebody who talks too much, at least have it be someone who is like encouraging.
That's nice.
Yeah.
I picked Anthony Edwards. I just like confident and chatting and telling stories about how he, jumped over a bus or like, you're like trying to keep up. And it's all just so much energy. I just picture him being like just on the go all the time.
And he'd be like, no, I know a better way to get there. I'm not going to do these.
Yeah, watch this.
Yeah.
I have a retired player. She just retired this last year. Her name's Diana Taurasi. Big name in basketball. Yeah, familiar. The GOAT. Yeah, she talks trash all the time, constantly on the court, non-stop. If you ask any rookies, like, who talks the most trash? It's just like her. And she'll just like whisper it in your ear too. And
love that. Okay, that's the game.
Yay.
Yay. Okay, you can go now.
Yay. Bye.
Thanks for coming over and making all this effort.
Yes, good job.
Thank you for having me again. And maybe in another couple of weeks, we'll have more news on which players got cut and which players are going to make the team. So that's really exciting. Bye.
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 Okay, this is the next part. Okay. I changed my hair. I wanted to acknowledge it because it's a thing that people acknowledge frequently. If anybody's watching this and they've watched it before, they might be like, who's that lady? It's me.
You changed your hair. It looks great.
Thanks. Good answer. Current events. We got some big current events to talk about.
We do. What do you have?
It's the playoffs now.
Yeah.
Fortunately, the NBA has a bracket that is similar to the March Madness one that really made things more clear for me because I did not know, I don't know how I didn't know this because I am smart, but I am also so dumb because I was like, wait, they have to win 4 of 7 games?
Right.
I thought it was like one and done until I texted you. I was like, wait, there's another game?
Yeah. I liked how you were like, that's why it goes till June. Yeah. That made me laugh a lot as like why a basketball follower, why the playoffs are kind of cool. That it's a series rather than just a game.
I can see why, because like the 2 games that I paid attention to were the Timberwolves-Lakers game.
Right.
Because the Timberwolves won, and that was really fun to see. But then to like see this speculation of, okay, that's not going to happen again in game 2 because LeBron and JJ Redick are already like immediately figuring this out again.
Right.
And then the Nuggets Clippers. Okay, I don't know why that was exciting. No, I would have rather they just played the one.
Right.
Because they lost the second.
Yeah. I'm an authentic fan of you saying rules to be changed to benefit your team. It's like
there it is.
That's a sign. I mean, the thing that's fun about it is the tactics, right?
What do you mean?
Part of like the problem with NBA regular season is they don't actually have that much time to dedicate to each team they're playing. If they play 4 games in a week, they might during a walkthrough on the day of the game be like, okay, we're going to try to take away Tatum tonight by doing this strategy, whatever it is. Maybe they'll do that. The regular season, and first of all, none of the games matter that much. It's not really in the regular season. It's not really worth getting your team together for like an extra long practice to figure out how to do something that might improve your chances of winning a game. And I don't think they game plan for specific teams that much, right? I don't think they change like what they're going to do or the way they're going to attack. The playoffs is like the opposite. The games matter a lot, right? So they do get together and think about like exactly how are we going to attack this team? Here's what they're good at. Here's what they're not good at. How do we exploit it? How do we take all that stuff away? Which is true in a sport where it's one and done, but like the NFL or something, they will game plan really hard for playoff opponents. But in the NBA, they get to adjust, right? So whatever the Timberwolves did in game one, right? If it was a one-game series, that would have been done. And then, as you said, like LeBron and JJ and Luka all went back. So the other stuff that's happened, the Nuggets lost the second game, and Kawhi Leonard, who I think we've talked about before, who's with the Raptors, was a champion in 2020, and then he won a few championships like before that with the Spurs. Is like when he's good, is like as good as anyone, just so dominant, really fun to watch, and he looks like himself again. He scored 39 points on like 19 shots, which is unheard of. That's so unbelievable. And then Tatum hurt his wrist.
So I saw the clip of Tatum falling, and he's like on the ground like practically crying, and Missoula's like, get up.
Yeah, screaming across the court. Get up, get up.
I saw a post-game interview where they were like, what were you saying? And he was like,
love.
Yeah, he said it was saying it with love. Saying it with love.
He was like holding the trainer back.
Why? What's the penalty for Tatum coming out for a minute, getting it looked at?
I don't think that, I doubt that's what he was thinking. I bet he was more like, let's not give this injury. I'm totally guessing, but knowing him, like the power of thought, that he was like, let's not let him believe this injury is serious.
Okay, so it's exactly like when your toddler falls down and you're like, you're okay.
You're okay. Yeah. You don't scream, get up at your...
Well, that's the difference.
Right.
That's the grown-up version.
That's the only difference.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty funny. But he's doubtful for game 2. Tatum.
Did he break it?
No, the x-ray was negative, but they might have said bruise. Like, I don't know. Doesn't seem good.
No, he seemed like he was in a lot of pain.
Yeah. Stuff like that's scary, too.
Yeah.
I bet he is sore and in a lot of pain. So, thinking of him. And, as of a couple hours ago, Pritchard officially won 6th Man of the year.
Congratulations.
Yeah, good job.
We'd love to have you on.
Yeah.
Okay, I watched a game this week.
Great.
I watched the Pistons play the Knicks. I'm kind of a Pistons fan, I think. They have played the Knicks twice before. The Knicks have won both times. The announcers were Walt Frazier and Tyler Murray. Immediately, I was like, Walt is my guy. His outfit is spectacular. Like, does he have a stylist or is he doing this on his own? I don't know. They kept saying that the Pistons were going into this overconfident, and they kept emphasizing that, like, the Pistons have no experience with the playoffs.
Yeah.
And I did not realize like how severe it was until I looked it up. The Pistons have remained winless in the postseason since Game 4 of the 2008 Conference Finals.
Wow.
I know. A notable player for the Knicks is a guy named Karl Anthony Towns. You know what I think is great is he's from New Jersey.
Yeah.
Which means he probably always wanted to play for the Knicks.
Right.
Now he is living his dream. I'm guessing.
Yeah.
Quarter 1, people were sitting. They were not standing until a basket was scored.
So
New York
where does that happen?
New York people, they're like, why would I do that? I'm not going to stand around until somebody scores a basket. I'm going to sit down.
Yeah.
I had to walk here. I had to take the subway here.
Yeah.
I'm not standing. Pistons lead the league in dunks.
Oh.
I know, I love that. Detroit is bringing in Ron Holland. He's 19. I know. He's played every game this year except for one because he was suspended for the fight.
I find this interesting that they hadn't won since 2008. And I always think that like whenever I hear stuff about like this team is like battle tested and they're, the experience is going to pay off, a little piece of me is like, I don't especially know what that means. Like they're playing a basketball game.
Right.
And like the better team, it makes sense to me that the better team would win. Like what are they getting better at?
Right.
When they're battle tested?
The pressure?
Like, yeah, I guess I'm like wondering like how does that impact the game? Is it like, because it's not always about like free throws with 3 seconds left when you're like, that's a moment where you're like, oh boy, this is a lot of pressure.
Right.
But in the flow of the game, I don't know if I don't fully understand it. And I don't always believe it. And then it usually turns out to be true. Like there aren't a lot of teams whose best player is like under 25 who win championships, right? Like Michael Jordan didn't do it. The Celtics were in the playoffs a bunch of years leading up to last year. I don't know what happened with the Warriors on their run or whatever, but it doesn't seem to happen that much where like it does seem like there's something about getting postseason experience, which doesn't make any sense to me. I don't get it.
I don't know.
Okay, sorry, I interrupted you.
Okay, anyway, quarter 2. There's something called basket interference.
Yeah.
It's when you hang on the rim for too long.
Right. I think there are a few different ways. Like if you mess with the net.
Okay.
Or if the ball is in the air and you like hit the backboard to like move the hoop around or whatever. That's also
Okay.
so there's a few. It all kind of falls under that like goaltending
Okay, makes sense.
lens. Yeah.
Karl Anthony Towns has that they called a baseline drive. Isn't that a baseball term? A baseline drive?
A line drive is a baseball term.
What's a baseline drive in basketball?
It's when do you know what the baseline is?
No.
The
Learning so much.
I like how you said that. The out of bound, the sideline would be the out of bounds
Okay.
line on the side of the court.
Yeah.
And the baseline is the one at the under the basket, kind of parallel to the backboard.
Yeah, okay.
So driving baseline would be driving toward that line, and then kind of like you're dribbling by your defender between them and the baseline. You're between them and the baseline.
Great.
Yeah.
Okay. Audi, the car company, has the electrifying play of the game. That fits.
Yeah,
Good job,
sure.
Audi.
Great.
Okay. The Knicks were up. Quarter 3, alley-oop from Cunningham and Durham. This is their 60th alley-oop this season.
Wow.
Wow. Then the game is tied. Then the Knicks are in the lead. Bickerstaff had 3 bench players in the game right now. And I like that. But like, bro, what are you doing? Like, doesn't that seem pretty risky in a playoff game?
A little dangerous. It's a fine line. So in the Pistons got pretty far ahead in the third quarter of this game, right? Did I make that up?
Can't remember.
I think the Pistons.
Yes, they did. Yeah, they were.
So it worked.
Well,
They.
until it did.
I bet the starters were back in when they lost. I don't know.
I don't really remember.
You're bringing up a good point though, because rotations, which is like the rotation is the kind of the amount of time in the order in which the players play, often shorten in the playoffs, meaning like they'll leave the starters out for more time.
Well, that makes sense.
Yeah, and Tom Thibodeau, the Knicks coach, is like kind of famous for this, that he does not play backups, and he like often like runs his players into the ground. I think that Josh Hart guy, they had some playoff series last year where I don't know, I'm making it up, but it might have been like he didn't come out of like 2 games in a row. He played like the whole, not really super tenable.
Yeah, but I bet his mom was so proud.
You're
Okay,
good.
there was this really wild play where Hardaway dunks the ball. It goes like
Oh, I watched this.
to the bottom of the net and then back out, and it did not count.
I couldn't believe that. I didn't know. I thought when it happened, I was like, that's my most confusing part.
Yes.
Because I thought all the ball had to do was clear the rim.
The announcers were shocked that it didn't count.
Right.
Someone said coast to coast, and I just thought, great, I'm glad that's
Do you have a Knicks version of that? Staten Island to Harlem or something?
yeah, like the Lady Liberty to the Brooklyn
To White
Bridge.
Plains.
Okay, Brunson was holding his ankle. It's really scary because he had landed on somebody's foot.
Yeah.
And he just got back
Yeah.
for missing like 15 games.
So they were wondering about this because in order to be eligible for the postseason awards in the NBA, like MVP,
Right, you
all
have to
defense,
play-
you have to play at least 65 games. And they were wondering if he came back in the last couple of games just to like limp through to be eligible.
But it just sucks because like he landed on. It's like he re-injured it.
It does suck, and it's like incentivizing this very weird stuff. And it's not just the name. Like if you're eligible for an extension, a contract extension, you are eligible to make more money if you've made all NBA teams. So like it's not nothing that these guys, if you play 64 games, you're not eligible.
Right.
It might cost you, I don't know what the number is, but like many millions of dollars.
Wow.
Yeah, pretty wild.
Quarter 4. So they said Brunson was given a breather and he wasn't on the bench. I suspect he was in the locker room getting his ankle looked at.
He changed his shoes. He changed his shoes. You're right.
What did he change into?
It's heels. I was wondering the same thing.
He's like, listen, guys, I got these Crocs and I lived in them.
It's bananas. I was wondering the same thing. I can't believe that he changed style of shoe.
Right?
I was wondering if he just got like a new pair that felt stiffer.
Well, maybe.
I don't know.
Oh, yeah. Then in quarter 4, something spilled on the court. It really surprises me because this happened in a Nuggets game.
Yeah.
It surprises me that anyone sitting in courtside seats are allowed to have like food and drinks.
Right.
I can't believe that.
Yeah.
So like somebody spilled something and it's pretty fun to watch, like the 5 people running out with
Swarm,
these
yeah.
Gatorade towels. But Spike Lee was there, like standing like this the whole time, like, and then clapping for the people working. I know he's like a fixture.
He's a big fan. Whatever. He loves it.
At the end of the game, the Knicks were like on fire.
Mm.
They got 21 points in a row. And that's fun when you're a Knicks fan.
Yeah, it must have been really loud and exciting in there.
Yeah, and then at the end I wrote, I want to take a nap.
So I bet it was like exciting because Madison Square Garden, like when they were on the 21-0 run,
Yeah.
was great. One thing that I heard was that the number of possessions per team in the playoffs, which is basically a proxy for like how quickly they're getting the ball up and shooting, was like extremely low in the first weekend of the playoffs.
Across the board.
Across the board. Defense probably gets a little bit tighter. Like people are just like trying harder, I think, on defense. But I was wondering if some of like the boredom in this game, some of it might have been expectations, or someone's like,
yes.
you've got to see this show, it's great. And then you watch it and you're like, I don't know if it's great.
Yeah.
Which may have been what I did to you with the playoffs.
No, it's okay.
I'm not worried about it.
Okay.
I think the pace of these games is slower. Like the scores have been a little bit lower.
And it's going to pick up?
Thunder Grizzlies aside, maybe not, because it becomes more physical. I think the defense is just like tighter and harder to score on. So maybe the exchange for the increased effort is that things slow down a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know.
We'll see.
The Warriors game, I think Jimmy Butler after the Warriors game was like, this game felt like it was from the 90s. Because I don't think either team scored 100 points, which is true in the Lakers game today too. Just like, it's just hard. It's harder.
Yeah.
Harder to score. Anyway, sorry. Walt Clyde Frazier. Tell me about Walt Clyde Frazier.
Before watching this, you said you wonder how many times he's going to rhyme. I did a brief count. I don't think my count is accurate. I think it was like around 34 times.
Unbelievable. Yeah.
Let me read them too. Okay, wait, but it was either rhyming or like his vocabulary is very high.
Yeah.
So it was like, I didn't write down all the like more sophisticated things he said. I just wrote down one as an example. So it was either like, he says, Towns has been much maligned for a lack of defense. Not tonight. Much maligned.
Yeah.
Like he talks like either that or in rhymes.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to read all the rhymes.
Okay,
too. Ready?
let me have it.
And just so you know, some things are like almost rhyme. Okay, playoff is when you gain your fame. Erratic, dramatic, pumping and stumping, overstated, overrated, swooping and hooping, one and done, slamming and jamming. He said that one 2 times. Stopping and popping, penetrating but not devastating. Almost rhyme. Weaving and achieving, a little razzle dazzle between the legs to get to the hoop. Penetrating, creating, shake and bake, hacking and whacking, moving and grooving. OG, hounding, pounding, hounding, dancing, prancing, bacon but no bacon, elusive, abusive, thanking and thanking, mesmerizing, improvising, levitating and devastating, dramatic, emphatic. Hostin' and toastin', master blaster, lighting and exciting, wheelin' and dealin'. Ollie continues, my golly, one and done. A little more pep in their step, thriving and thriving, huffing and stuffing. So nice, gotta show it twice. Slicing and dicing, rising and surprising, driving and thriving. The end.
Wow.
Wow.
Right?
That was pretty creative. He's pretty high up there with like Eddie Johnson and Special K. Like not quite up there, but he's close to.
Yeah. And distinctive, right? Like not cookie cutter.
Right.
Tell me about Miles McBride.
Let me tell you about Miles McBride. He plays for the Knicks. He played in college for West Virginia for 2 years. And then he was drafted by the Knicks in 2021 as the only player not to be subbed out of a game during that season. His nickname is Deuce because he's the younger brother. And his brother is the third, and so his name is Trey. Do you know this is a thing?
Oh, okay. Yeah. I would assume Trey's a thing.
It is.
Is Deuce a thing with Trey?
No, his
okay.
grandfather came up with it. And he grew up in Ohio, and one of the things I was reading about him was like a profile the local news had done about this really great high school football player. Yeah.
Yeah.
So he's one of those guys.
Yeah. I mean, all these guys, right, are just so athletic. If you're
Yeah.
there, like people who look very unathletic, like if Payton Pritchard came and you saw him in the gym, you'd be like, that's the most athletic I've ever seen in my
Yeah.
life. You know, and on an NBA court, just doesn't look like it.
That's
Anna
his girlfriend is Anna Zortia.
Yeah.
She is Brazilian, and they met in college where she was a swimmer for
Great.
West Virginia.
She ugly? Yeah. Too bad.
Yeah, and pregnant. Okay, I have a question. Madison Square Garden has Celebrity Row. This is not a question I think you know the answer to. This is just kind of a wondering. Madison Square Garden has Celebrity Row. I don't know, but I don't think it's like an actual like place designated for celebrities.
Yeah, I
think
wouldn't
it's
think so either.
probably just like. So do you think that they are gifting celebrities tickets, or do you think celebrities are buying the ticket? Like I know that like Spike Lee loves it, and he will spend. This is something he'll spend his money on. Same with Ben Stiller. But like, do you think there's some sort of reciprocal? I don't know. I think attract people to things.
Yeah.
So do you think that they are gifted these tickets, or do you think they're buying their own?
What do you think?
I
I
think
have
that
an
they-
opinion, but
I think that like their agent will reach out to the Knicks and be like, "Hey, this weekend Chris Rock is going to be in town, and he and his wife want to go to a game. Can you get us some tickets?"
without paying.
Yeah, but also they have the money to do it. They can do whatever. They
I was
want.
going to say I bet they pay, but you saying that made me think that maybe not.
Yeah, I don't know.
The optics wouldn't be awesome if it got out there that those were gifted.
Think about all the gifts they get.
Yeah.
So many things everywhere they go.
Yeah, you're right. I was going to say no. I was going to say I bet they buy tickets to be there. But now that you say that, I'm not convinced. It's like New York and LA, right? Like those are
Yeah.
always. So no, I think I'm going to stick with I bet they buy those tickets,
Okay.
but I'm not sure.
What is a key bench player?
It doesn't have anything to do with the key.
I did not even remember that
Oh,
was
okay.
what that was called.
Uh,
It's like, are there some bench players who you're like, so you've got your starting five,
Mm-hmm.
you have the sixth man,
Yeah.
and then you have the bench players.
The sixth man is also a bench player. Anyone who doesn't
Right.
start the game is considered a bench player.
So like, what makes you a key bench player? And then are you just like all the leftovers are like loser bench players?
Yeah, well, I don't know if they call him that, but a key bench player would be someone who comes off the bench and is really important for your team, like every game. Were they talking about?
Oh, every game.
Were the second place sixth
So
man
like
of the year?
Peyton Watson, is he a key bench player?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, probably any bench player who's like a regular player who matters a lot for your team. I bet they were talking about Beasley. I don't know, but
don't know.
Malik Beasley was either second or third in the sixth man of the year
Oh, okay.
race with Pritchard. Yeah. And any bench player who's like really important to your team.
Okay.
Right, because if there are 12 or 15 guys on your team, some of them almost never play unless it's a big blowout. And the guys who almost never play, would not be considered key bench players.
Okay.
Yeah,
Great. I think we're the MVP.
I love it.
My MVP is Cunningham and Durham for their alley-oop.
Nice.
Because I love an alley-oop.
Yeah,
It's showy.
and the Pistons figured it out in game 2. The Pistons won the second game of this series. Yeah, so they're heading back to Detroit, tied 1-1, and it was really similar. That the Pistons were ahead going into the fourth quarter, and it was like I think maybe the Knicks scored a couple baskets or something. It was kind of like this "here we go again" kind of like thing that they were going to melt down, and they didn't. So I wasn't this
Nice.
game, but I'm also going to give Cunningham MVP of the series so far.
Okay, good. We agree on that.
Okay,
We
good.
don't have to fight.
Yeah.
Okay, LVP. Mine's really long. It's ChatGPT.
Yeah. Tell me why.
I went to ChatGPT and I was like, tell me everyone who played in the Knicks Pistons game from April 19th and how many minutes they played for. And then I was like, I'm going to take some of these guys who only played for 5 minutes and look them up and see like what their deal is. And so the first one I picked was Jacob Toppin. And I was like, I'm going to look up this guy. And I look him up and he does not play for the Knicks. So I went back to ChatGPT and I was like, hey, Chat, he doesn't play for the Knicks.
Yeah.
So can you give me an accurate list of who played in this game? Chat says, great catch. That was a mistake on my part. Jacob Toppin did not play in that Knicks game on April 19th, 2025, because he wasn't on the Knicks roster anymore. He had already been waived in March and signed with the Hawks, like you pointed out. Like, who's doing the work here? That 5-minute mention was incorrect. If you want, I can get the correct Knicks box score, blah, blah, blah. And I said, yes, please give me the information, but this time accurately. So it says, apologies for the earlier confusion. Upon reviewing the official box score for the April 19th, 2025 playoff game between the Knicks and the Pistons, here are the accurate minutes played by each player. And it lists them. And then it says, again, at the end of the list, Jacob Toppin did not play in this game. I know that because he doesn't play for the Knicks.
That's great.
So listen, ChatGPT not only is the LVP, but also is not ready to take over the world.
Not ready to take over.
Singularity, not as near as I had worried about.
Yeah.
Okay, so that was my LVP. Did you have an LVP?
Yeah, that guy who hurt Tatum. That's my LVP. I'm not impressed.
Tatum was wronged.
Yeah. They should change the rules to help. It is good that there's a lot of time between these playoff games. The first round in particular, there's like, they played like Sunday, Wednesday, Saturday, right? So it's like 3 games in 7 days, which is less than in the later rounds. It's kind of every other day.
Also why it goes till June.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. But yeah, good call. The guy who hurt Tatum.
Okay, most confusing part for me was how the playoffs work.
That's nice. It's confusing. You know, they used to do the first series used to be best of 5 games. So you only had to win 3 to move on. I don't know why they changed that. I don't know why they changed. I mean, I guess I mean money, right? More games, but I guess this way, if you get swept, the losing team would still get 2 home games instead of just 1 if you get swept. It's got to be money. And some of them, it's almost like the 1 seed versus the 8 seed should still be best of 5. Because, like, come on,
Yeah,
it's where
right.
the Thunder don't need to play the Grizzlies 2 more times in order to show that they're a better team. But some of those close ones in the middle, right? Like the Nuggets and the Clippers will likely go 7 games, 6 or
Yeah.
7 games, and like it's a little bit less random.
Yeah.
Out of 7 versus out of 5, I guess. I don't know why they changed that. It probably wasn't because of the quality of basketball. My confusing part was definitely the dunk. I'm still confused why that didn't count.
That was weird.
Yeah.
What did we learn?
I learned that the Pistons hadn't won a playoff game since 2008. That must have been against the Celtics because the Celtics won the championship that year.
Congratulations.
Yeah, good job, guys. We worked really hard.
I think I learned what a key bench player is. And I'm learning more about the WNBA. I'm excited to follow, I can't remember her name, but to follow that one player on TikTok.
Oh, yeah.
Because, you know, I love good TikToks.
Right.
Yeah,
Wait, did we do it?
I think we did it.
Good job.
Good job.
Bye.
Bye. Okay, thank you for listening to Go Team Score Points. Today's episode was edited by Irish. Information for this episode came from Wikipedia, Sports Illustrated, WCPO Cincinnati, ESPN.com, and the NBA.com. You can reach us at goteamscorepoints@gmail.com. Next week, we'll be watching the Lakers-Timberwolves game from April 25th. See you then.